force is the power.
Hey guys, what's up? And I hope you are enjoying the build and having fun with the build if you're following the build. And as you can see, I have added Vine Arrow to the build because I briefly touched on it in the last video. I was saying that I wasn't sure if this is an intended interaction or not, but however, after further thoughts and discussions with some other players, I think this is intended. So either GG is going to have to completely gut this or it cannot be nerfed, alright? So Vine Arrow, very interesting. You shoot an arrow into the air, it will create these vine. And what this vine does is that it's actually targetable by our Siege Cascade. So if I swap to Siege Cascade here, you can see that when I shoot Siege Cascade, it will land it on all these vine. And because we can prep this vine ahead of time, before the boss even spawn, you can create a bunch of vine just like this. And you can see if the boss is right in the middle, it can be overlapped by so many vine, which will do so much damage to the boss. Alright, so you swap to Siege Cascade, you can shoot, it just rain fire, and anything that's then in between, which conveniently enough we have time freeze, so the boss will be, again, let me show you time freeze here, the boss will be frozen for a whole, is it time freeze? Yeah, 14.45 seconds, which is a long time because I have added some skill effect duration to the build through jewels, right? So 15 seconds almost that the boss gonna get freeze. This vine also benefited from the duration, so you can see here that these vine, I'll keep resetting, sorry. These vine last for a whole 20 seconds, so we have 20 seconds to prep, so we have 5 seconds ahead of time to prep these vine, and then we will time freeze the boss for 15 seconds, and we have 15 seconds of free damage on top of the boss, and which means that the boss will also get destroyed from the 90% more damage against immobilized enemies, which is why the setup is so strong, and it's so strong in particular for Chronomancer. I want to quickly add that there's actually a bug that is going on with the weapon swap right now. So if you shoot by arrow like this and you will just right click to swap to Siege Cascade, you're gonna run into a bug where you run very slow and you cannot use your weapon. So to fix this, either that you're going to have to do a dodge roll and then you can shoot again, or you're gonna use Vine Arrow and then you will cast your Frost Wall, which is bind to the first weapon only, and then you can shoot Siege Cascade. Yeah. So I find myself doing the Vine Arrow, Ice Wall on top, and then shooting Siege Cascade very smooth. So this is how you can avoid these bugs. Now, Vine Arrow is very strong for single target damage, as you can see briefly before. You do have issue running into these weapon swap bug if you use Vine Arrow doing mappings a lot, so it's not that comfy. I do recommend you to use the Frost Wall setup, and this Frost Wall setup is still very strong doing mapping because as you can see here, I've taken some skill speeds to help with the cast speed, so it feels very smooth. If you don't remember what it does, basically Siege Cascade will target anything that it can in the areas, and including Frost Wall. So what we can do is that we cast Frost Wall on top of the pack of monster, and then we shoot Siege Cascade twice or 3 times if you can, and this will destroy the monster. These Frost Wall will also explode. We have glaciation support here, so it will build up freeze and it will trigger the Herald Ice and Herald Thunder combo from the Hoziken ring. So what you can do during mapping is just run around, cast these Frost Wall, and shoot Siege Cascade on top of it. Now, if you do run into a harder pack of brain monster, what you can also do is that you can swap to Vine Arrow. And, well, I just lag a little bit here. So you shoot Vine Arrow, and then you put down your banner, you hit your time freeze, and then you cast your frost wall to swap to your crossbow so you don't run into the bug, and then you can shoot Siege Cascade on top of the Rain Monster. And honestly, no Rain Monster should survive this kind of damage because even bosses cannot. So you won't have any problem during mapping at least. And what I've done different from last time is that I actually put fortress support on the frost wall so that you can see here, sometimes it can box the monster in the middle, which help a little bit with the damage. I'm not sure how much. However, yeah, so that's what I've changed since last time. And this setup is very comfy during mapping. For the skill gems, basically my setup is almost the same, but I'll go over what changed and what I think about it. So for time freeze, because I take off the shields, I put ingenuity in here to help with the cooldown recovery, and basically the cooldown right now is about 35.4 seconds and the time freeze duration is almost 15 seconds. So if if this now and again passive do trigger, I will have about 30 seconds of time freeze and with only 4-second cooldown, so it's very strong in general. For Siege Cascade, my link are the same. I have Martial Temple, again for attack speed and reload speed, that's really good. Magnified Effect for overlapping damage. Primal Armament and Cold Infusion is act like a more damage multiplier, which is also very strong. Executed, I have added a 6th link to this. I don't think it is necessarily, but Executed is very strong. I also have an alternative setup if you don't like Executed, is that you can take reusable ammunitions and pair that together with ammo conservations. This means that sometimes when you attack, your basically your Siege Cascade won't consume any bolts, so that can be very strong. The Frost Wall setup, like I mentioned before, Glaciations, Fortress, Spell Cascade, very strong. It sometimes can box in the monsters, and if I have to add a 4th link to it, I would put back the Freeze to help with the frozen time. The Vine Arrow setups, again, very simple. Basically, I have Scatter Shot here for more projectiles, so I can add more projectiles. So one arrow will shoot out 4 Vine. This is because I also have the Corrupted options on Quill Rain, which have more attacks by an additional arrow. So I can shoot 4 Vine every time that I shoot, and I shoot very fast because of Quill Rain. These Vine do have a big area to it because I have a lot of area of effect, and this kind of affect the spread of this. So if I were to add another link to this, I would probably put concentrated effect, but however, I don't really think it is that necessary because again, we cover a lot of ground already. It certainly would help with a lot of the smaller hitbox, but Pinnacle contents, usually the boss are really just covering here without any issues because Siege Cascade do have a lot of AoE overlapping. Emergency reload acts like a more damage multiplier. The bolts have 30% more damage. I have premeditation here for 15 more damage, so it's like 45% more damage, and you can use it to quickly reload Siege Cascade. Give a buff to it with a yellow number here, and basically just shoot away, do a lot of damage. And I also add Culling Strike to it to help finish off the boss together with Execute. So if it's not the boss, the Rain Monster would just fell over when you do this combo. Grim Feast, very strong for energy shield based character. Blasphemy support, again, Blasphemy, it's important that you quality up to have the 10% reduced reservation, which will help with your spirit management. I have just shy of 200 spirits, and I'm able to run all this aura because I fit that in, and I can't even fit in Heightened Curse to help with the temporal chain, basically make enemy really slow, right? Ritualistic Curse is for the area of effect, encumbrance for even make monster move even slower. The Herald of Ice and Herald of Thunder, I briefly went over the interaction in details in the last video, so in this video basically I'll just explain that Herald of Ice I support with Innovate, Coursing Currents, Lightning Infusions, Conductions to help get a lot of lightning damage on the Herald and let it shock. And when it shocks the monster, it kills with the explosions. Once again, you can shatter enemies that chills and activate Herald of Ice from this Blue Flame Bracer, all these things, right? All this good stuff. And trigger Herald Thunder, which again, I wanted to do some ice damage to help with the build up and just kill the monster, causing the explosion chain. So I have Ice Bite, Shock Siphon, Culling Strike, and Biting Frost on here. For the last setup, for the last gems, I put War Banner because War Banner, actually, you can use it together with Frost Wall. You cast a lot of Frost Wall here and you use Siege Cascade. Killing the Frost Wall actually stack up the War Banners. And War Banner is actually very strong when you are able to stack it up and use it with ease, because as you can see here, it adds a lot of damage to Siege Cascade. So our damage is 2000 right now. If I put this down, it's went up to 3100, which is a lot of damage buff for this. And together with this banner here, with Divine Arrow, and then Time Freeze, and Emergency Reloads will do a lot of damage, right? We do so much damage to single targets that we shouldn't have any problem doing mapping with rare or bosses in general, even Pinnacle bosses. Just a quick reminder that I have put up a written build guide on mobilities for this particular build, so if you're interested in this version or the early game transition version, which it's not much difference, you know, Vine Arrow should be the superior setup right now. I have updated all the items that I'm currently using in this showcase. I will keep this guy updated with all the skill gems, passive points for anything that is minor, that's not too impactful. I won't be making a new video, so if you can give this build guide a follow, the link will be in the descriptions. Now let's talk about the items and what I changed since last time. So pretty much everything is the same, but I did get a new crossbow just to push further into T15, and what I'm looking for in a crossbow is basically load additional bolt. As I explained before, this is very strong because when you put down Frostwall, at least during mapping, right, you will be able to shoot at least 3 bolts before the initial bolt fall down and destroy the Frostwall. So it's very important that either you get the crossbow base with load additional bolt and loads 1 additional bolt. I want to kind of test out everything, so I got one with 2 additional bolt, but overall I feel like the 1 additional bolt doesn't make a lot of difference. Now for the second part, as I said before, you do want to grab one with a lot of physical damage, and again, this is not really a special one. It has 372 physical damage, but it does have increased elemental damage with attack. As some people have suggested, this is a really good stat, so I did try to get it, but overall for me, at least for this particular build, it doesn't add a lot of damage to the build because we don't actually do a lot of elemental damage because we are not using Hand of Wisdoms, which you know, with Instack it will do a lot of lightning damage, so this particular line doesn't affect us too much. So again, try to grab on with a lot of physical attack, and especially you should have at least 2 additional bolt in here somewhere, either in the implicit, or you can run with a lower reload time crossbow with the high physical damage and 2 additional bolt here. Attack speed is very good for this build as well because it just feels better when you're mapping. You attack faster, you reload faster, so it just improving the quality of life for this particular build. So yeah, elemental damage, not that good. So once again, if I have to rebuy a crossbow, I'll get one with high physical damage attack, with load additional bolt, at least 2, with increased attack speeds. That's my personal idea. So the next upgrade that I'll do, I'll try to grab one with at least 500, 550 or 600 physical DPS and try to push further into the Pinnacle content. But as you can see, I have no problem killing Pinnacle contents right now with this particular build, which is not that strong in my opinion. So next, I'll talk about the amulet a little bit. So I did change the anointment. I've changed to Primo Growth, which is it increased area effect if you have killed recently, which means that generally you have 30% increased area effect when you're mapping. I believe the Frost will count as kill as well, so you will always have the increased area of effect during mapping with this setup. So previously, I was using Devastations, which is this node. It's very cheap, so if you're in a budget build, definitely look to anoint this one. It's very cheap and it's also very strong. Now, for the stats, I did try to get one with all elemental resistance and 2 line of attributes, because as you push further into the end game, you will have some gems that require a lot of dexterity and intelligence. So as you can see here, I have really high dex and int, basically to make sure that I can use the gem at high level. So that's an important stat that you want to look for. Beside that, everything else is the same. So let's talk about the weapon swap setup, which currently I'm using Quirin to shoot the vine arrow. And we don't really care about the less attack damage mine, so this is fine. Vine arrow, so we do benefit again from the weapon set 2, which have all the skill effect durations. So if you can shoot this vine, they will last for 20 seconds. And yeah, so you shoot very fast, they will last for 20 seconds and you can do all the damage you can. Once again, corrupted for fire additional arrows. Again, it's not that important in my opinion, because you can attack very fast anyway, so increase arrow speed here, increase attack speed. If you have a normal one, I would suck it with the increased attack speed gems in here. I bought this one corrupted, so I didn't have that options. For the quiver, you want to look for one with increased attack speed, skill speed, pretty much the most important stat over here. You can ignore everything else, and pretty much that will allow you to shoot a lot of vine arrow very fast, very quickly. You stack these up for your siege cascade, right? So that is our setup currently. Now for the jewels, once again, nothing changed pretty much. I have 2 more jewels locked, which right now I'm adding. Once again, my priority is area of effect on all the jewel, skill effect durations, very strong, and some elemental damage, right? So these 3 are fine. I find that curse effect is also good doing mapping as well, so you just kind of have to balance it out a little bit between defensive and offensive. So it's solely up to you. On that topic, let's quickly discuss the passive skill trees. And I haven't made any changes since last time. Well, a little bit of changes, right? So I'm not pathing to instant reload anymore, but I opted to go for skill speeds and even more attack speeds over here. And as I explained before, this one actually have a reduced cost of skill, which is pretty nice. This is to help with the single target damage, which if you shoot a lot of vine arrows, they are also benefits from the skill speed and attack speeds. You can also shoot a lot of siege cascade, and this is a lot of damage increase. So reload speed doesn't really help with any of this, so more skill speed, the better it is, more attack speed. During normal mapping, we are also casting these frost walls, and the skill speed actually improve the cast speed as well, so that helps even more with that. Right now, I'm at level 87, and there are a few options for you if you'll get more level. So you can path to Icebreaker, and this means that you can drop the Frozen Charm and use something like a Golden Charm instead, and they would protect you from being frozen. If you don't want to do that and you want to use a Frozen Charm in the build, you can also have this option to path down here as well and grab reusable ammunitions, and together with ammo conservation, like I said, it is a straight up damage increase, because the more siege cascade you can shoot during the boss frozen timing, right? Like the more you can shoot without the need to reload, that is a straight up damage increase. So yeah, for now I don't have the point, but if I do want to path as I get more level, this is what I'll do. I'll grab reusable ammunitions and combo that together with ammo conservation. So yeah, that's my personal plan. It is worth noting that I'm using for weapon set 1, I'm taking all these increased area of effect, and if I swap over to the vine arrow setup, I don't have this increased area of effect anymore. So technically it would help a little bit with the spread of vine arrow, but once again, if you have or feel that you need help with the problem of vine arrow spreading too much, you can socket it, concentrated effect in here. In fact, that's what I will probably do after this video is finished. With that being said, let's finish with a quick breach map showcase for the videos. And this is where I fought T2 Xesht, as I show in the beginning of this videos. I just want to quickly show you how this build performed, clearing breach content or pretty much any high density content in general, which is breach, Galeriums, ritual. This build can do everything pretty much. I still need to put a lot more currency into the build, getting a much better weapons. The weapons I'm using right now is actually not that good because I was again testing out the elemental damage to attack, which doesn't really pan out so well. So again, my next upgrades is going to be a high physical damage weapons. I'm going to add a lot better ES gear into my build, so I have a more tankier version of this build, because I could get up to at least 7-8k ES where it would feel a lot more comfortable. So for packs like this rare, where it can get a little bit annoying in the corridor, then you could use time freeze to help with that. This build performed pretty well into any density content. So again, during normal mapping in T15, this shouldn't be any issues with bridge. I've done quite a few bridge, and it just works very well. Everything just kind of explodes when like that in a chain. So the double hero explosions is working very well. Now, what I'll say is that if it does get nerfed somehow, I do have a backup plan. Right now, I still like this setup in general, so I'm not going to change it. I feel like GG has a lot of things to go through before they even touch the hero interactions, right? There are a lot more broken builds out there. So yeah, I would be surprised if they decide to nerf Siege Cascade right now after they just buffed it a few patches ago. So yeah, if you like explosion, you want to try out this build, it's definitely worth, and it works very well, at least for the content that I'm doing right now. If you want to push further into the Pinnacle content, I'm pretty sure that, you know, if you are in the end game player, you could make a head of wisdom and actions set up out there with stacks, do a lot of lightning damage, will convert damage to lightning somehow and make this build shine even further, right? Like, you could push this build with a lot of currency, and I might just do that if I'm really enjoying this build, which I am so far. Chronomancer just worked really well with Siege Cascade, and just the combo, the potential that this build can do, at least for bossing, right? So we have, again, 15 seconds of freezing the boss, and during those time we could set up so much vine arrows and then just rain down Siege Cascade on top of the boss. That's a lot of damage, that's a lot of potentials. I think this build, with enough investment as it is, maybe just getting a little bit better with the weapons, we could have enough damage to even take down those T4 boss in the game right now, like the hardest content that the game have to offer. So the idea here is that you are using Chronomancer, so you have access to time freeze, which you can freeze the boss to 15 seconds, at least on my current versions. So you have about 20 seconds of vine arrow, so you have 5 seconds of keep shooting vine arrow. That should put at least 20 vine on the ground, and then when the boss landed, you hit time freeze. You're gonna put down your banner of valor, which is gonna last the whole time. You activate emergency reloads, cast frostwall for the weapon swaps, and then just rain down Siege Cascade, and then you can see that the boss will pretty much melt in less than 5 seconds, and that means you have 10 more seconds to do whatever you want. So for even higher content, this would not be any problem. But yeah, that's pretty much the build guide. If you like the build and want to follow it, consider subscribe to the channel. Please leave a comments down below, ask me any questions, and I will see you in the next one.